you remember we left him, they had gone fishing, he and his mates, and they had caught nothing all night. And they came back the next day, and as I said to you, there's nothing more disheartening than being with fishermen who have caught nothing. John records that to their surprise, there's somebody standing on the shore, and he says to them, "Friends, haven't you any fish?" Now we know, of course, that was Jesus was standing on the shore. And the word that I want to focus on today is this, that word, friends. Think about that. These are men who have been with Jesus, they have known him. Peter has made great promises to him, and then he has denied him. And they go back fishing because they think, well, that's the end of the story. And yet, what does Jesus call them? Friends. How different Jesus is from the normal human being. Because if somebody lets us down, we're inclined to keep them at arm's length. We're inclined to find it hard to trust them, aren't we? But Jesus calls these guys friends. There are many of you sitting watching this today, and I think you need to hear this word, friends. It's a word that I've had to learn because I grew up in that traditional background where God was somebody to be feared. And that's right and true. But then you learn, of course, that God loved us so much that he sent his own son, Jesus, to die on the cross in our place. But still some of us live with that sense of fear. That, oh yes, Jesus has died to deal with my sin, but that's as far as it goes. It's all right for Noel like you and people like that. They're at this for years. They know about this. It's all right for them to talk about Jesus being their friend. But these men are bigger failures than most of you will ever be. And yet he sees them as his friends. I wonder today what your situation in life is at present. There is added pressure because of the coronavirus. But before this came, some of us were struggling in different ways. I chatted to somebody this morning who's living in his marriage broken up, just living in despair. And so he's struggling today. Maybe you're not like that. Maybe life seems to be going fairly well for you. That's the impression I get from some of the comments on Facebook. But what all of us need to do is to sit down today and think this through. How does Jesus view me? As I come, my friend Scotty Smith was writing in his prayer this morning. He talked about those with stories of failure and fear, burdens and weakness, brokenness and stuckness. I love that word, stuckness, heartaches and longings. There'll be very few of us who don't have some sort of a longing or some sort of a sense of something we have messed up in the past. And yet here we're told Jesus comes and calls us friends. People today, would you please take hold of that? Some of us see Jesus as somebody to whom we have to earn the right to speak to. Others, we try to dictate how we'll do it. I think back to a conversation I had in the Northwest 200 paddock a couple of years ago with a guy, and we started to talk. John Kirkpatrick, the other chaplain, and I started to talk to him, and we were just chatting, about dying and things like that. And he came to the old like, well, he says, I'm not as bad as some of these other boys around this place. Maybe that's your story. Maybe you think maybe deep down, yeah, well, maybe you're not as good living as somebody talks about. I hate that term. I keep saying to people, but I'm not good living. And then they look at you're a minister. You've got to say to these people, you know, you've got to learn that this man that we're looking at here, this man Jesus, died on the cross because we could never be good enough to pay the price of our sin. Only he could do that. And he has done it perfectly. And he wants us today to recognize that we are his friends. Failures that we might be, problems that we might be, all the inhibitions that hold us back. Listen to that one word today again. Friends. It's Jesus speaking that word. And is he speaking it today to you? Personally to you? Yes, he is. Because he loves you.